Good evening, my friends. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can be with you forever. I'm going to be leaving my email in the description, so if you want to contact me for a birth chart reading, music production lessons, tarot readings, whatever you want, just hit me up and we can discuss things. But yeah, so I'm going to get right into this topic at hand here, and that's everything that's been going on in the stock market that people are getting really riled up about. And this is sort of, part of this will be a warning to newcomers, because there's a lot of newcomers I'm seeing just like jumping into stocks without actually knowing what the hell they're getting into. And one of the most important things that I've noticed in this trend, because there have been bubbles, it's not like this is a new thing. There have been a lot of Wall Street kind of bet explosions in the past, since the dawn of finance, pretty much that shit has always been around. Although this one's a little bit different because, it's a lot bigger. It's very exponential and it's completely random. And it's for a company that's like explicitly losing money. It's like in terms of like classical investment type decisions, it's just a useless company, which is kind of the whole joke about it, is that people just kind of like got into it for no reason really, other than the fact that there was a huge price momentum, and that just, it's a democratic process where if people just keep buying and holding it, not selling it, then the stock will just continue to go up. And, ultimately the stock will only go down the minute when people start to, accept the wins, so to speak, and just start selling off the stock, which eventually will like lead to an inevitable crash, which happens to every stock that this happens to. But the reason why this phenomenon is important and why the media is making such a big deal about it and trying to get people scared, and now they're trying to deregulate it, is because now people are starting to see this as a method that people can actually manipulate markets, because that's a reality. The market is based off of the collective group of people and their choices in how they dictate the market. You can see the same thing with Bitcoin. The only reason why Bitcoin is worth anything at all is because people are buying into the idea of Bitcoin, right? Fundamentally, as a currency, it's completely useless and just impractical on any means. But because there's like this religious thing behind it, it goes up in these amazing waves of volatility. And the same thing is happening to, GameStop, BlackBerry, AMC, a bunch of these other stocks. And so now people are starting to realize that they can manipulate markets and they can take money from the rich, so to speak, because a lot of hedge funds were shorting the stock for obvious reasons because it was way overvalued. But more people just kept buying it, so these shorts ended up getting fucked over and they ended up losing a lot of money. And so people are getting up in arms, and this is attracting a whole new demographic of people, which I find very fascinating, which is the leftist community, the socialists, the communists, the people who have, regarded finance and the stock market and the free market as, these bourgeoisie capitalistic enterprises that they have no real play or influence in, which is a complete lie. I think that's one of the major misconceptions about the concept of a free market, is that a free market is for everyone, right? And I think the main issue, the fundamental issue with why communism didn't work, was because they failed to realize that a free market is a socialist environment, pretty much, right? In essence, having a free market is the people creating an economy for themselves without a number of people dictating the entire process of the entire economic system, right? So any planned economy, you look at China, the fucking minute they stopped doing the planned economy bullshit, all their starvation and famine and poverty issues just kind of like went away. There's still a lot of issues with China, don't get me wrong, but as soon as they realized that having a free market is socialism, in whatever you want to call socialism, which is just basically caring about people, whatever, as soon as you realize that having a free market actually benefits people, a free market that's able to exist rather, then wealth can flourish, the poverty can be uplifted. And goes the same thing with why people hated capitalism, why people hated the free markets, was because the free market wasn't a free market in the early industrial era and early capitalist society. The free market was controlled by a select group of people who basically held all the means of production and blah, 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 the whole fucking story. And they controlled the market. And this is what's happening now. Wall Street controls the market. But now what's different is that all these investment banks, every single one of them, they're all using algorithmic trading. There's no actual traders. There's no actual people making these trades. They aren't really doing anything anymore. A lot of the traders have just been replaced by computers. That's the reality of the financial industry. And the reason why you're seeing these huge bubbles of people buying into these stocks is because the algorithm is feeding into the trends that the people are setting, right? So if people think GameStop is a valuable company, the algorithm will feed into that and start buying more stocks and building up the price. And this creates a feedback loop because the price is going up, then more people are thinking that the price is going to keep going, and the algorithm keeps reflecting that. There's no control from these investment banks. They just want to make money. And the way they make money is by reacting to the market, reacting what people are doing. And I think this is where people are starting to realize that there isn't actually, a select few people that are controlling everything, even though they are, but they're also, setting themselves up for failure, not necessarily failure, but they're setting themselves up to be manipulated because ultimately they're controlled by their own computers. The computers are in charge at this moment. It's not the people who are in those industries. So when people get together, they can easily drive up the prices of random stocks. And the reason why they're scared of this is because you can do this to any stock, any financial instrument whatsoever, and you can also make the stock go down. Think of George Soros, who shorted the pound, who was a key figure in the 90s for being blamed basically for market manipulation, for bringing the currency of the pound, just destroying it because he placed a bet on it. He could have been wrong theoretically, but he still had a major influence on driving that price down initially. And so people can do this as well. People can short stocks, people can buy put options, and they can bring down companies if they get enough people together. They can actually severely destroy the value of various companies. And you can think of a bunch of different companies that you would want to destroy, that people would want, especially left-leaning communist people who would want to eradicate or devalue completely if they get enough people and enough capital behind it. So this is definitely opening up a completely different world, which I've sort of theorized before, but I never actually thought it would happen, because this kind of thing happened before. Like Kendall Jenner said Snapchat is so passé, and then ultimately the stock went down just because she said that. Elon Musk made a tweet about GameStop, and all of a sudden the thing went flying. The power that people have in social media, I think, is very understated, especially when it comes to finance. People can literally say anything and it'll make the stock move if you can get a prominent figure, right? We're talking some people, very intense political figures, revolutionaries, whatever you want to fucking call it, just people who have a sense of authority and have a strong following. They can theoretically manipulate the market just by telling people, sell this stock at this price on this date. They can just tweet that out. If they have enough of a following and enough of people backing them, they can easily completely manipulate the market off of their own volition, which, is market manipulation. I think that's illegal. But there are ways you can get around that. And I think this is where people are going to start to wake up and realize that, these markets are there to be utilized. And I think people can utilize them if they get enough people together, right? If you want to call yourself a socialist or power to the people, you got to get over this bullshit about money and money being evil and the root of all evil, and anything to do with businesses or anything to do with self-interest in making money is somehow bad. Look, you need to help yourself before you help others. That's basic life. If you want to help people, the working class, uplift themselves out of poverty and misery, The best way to do that is to help them make fucking money. You know, if you can create a marketplace where that is available for all people, then you've solved the fucking problem. You don't need an ideology. You don't need a new political governmental system. It doesn't really matter. If you can manage to create an environment of wealth, that's all that really matters. And yeah, I think the finance thing is going to be an interesting turn of events of people realizing that this hatred of the marketplace and of capitalism is usually their own biased assumptions based off of people they dislike. So people like Jeff Bezos or, you know, Bill Gates or whoever the fuck, just rich people they don't like, and they think that anything that any quality that they exhibit, such as like wanting to make money or wanting to build wealth, is inherently evil, and you need to avoid that. I think that's a mentality that a lot of leftists, you know, buried themselves into for God knows what reason, but they do it anyway. And I think that there's a major misconception about people who make money, that they're all inherently greedy. I think there's greedy people in every facet of life. You think of communist countries, think of the fucking greedy pigs that took advantage of that system, and you can see all the dictators in history who have taken advantage of these ideologies, and you buy into it, and you're the one that suffers ultimately for buying into it and letting other people control you and take advantage of you. But I'm going on a tangent here. I just want to make another quick point about people who, because I've seen a lot of people, like, because of this GameStop thing, they're just like jumping into it. Yeah, I'm going to buy GameStop. I'm going to buy like just stupid shit. You know, GameStop could keep going up. It could also just fucking crash tomorrow into oblivion. You have no idea. And I think that's where people are going to get a real reality check, especially noobs coming in. Or they could make a lot of money, which is even worse because, you know, people who make a lot of money when they first start off in the markets, they think they can do it again. But, you know, you're just fucking gambling at that point. But yeah, there are ways to, you know, utilize the markets in a way that's not gambling. If you just utilize some common sense and do your homework and, you know, don't get caught up in bullshit. There's a lot of fake education people out there teaching you bullshit about the stock market. You need to really do your homework and understand how this industry works. If you're just starting out, don't be an idiot. Don't throw away your life savings or take a loan out. I don't even think that's even possible. If you walked into a bank and said, I'm going to take a loan out to invest in GameStop, I don't think that'll work out very well for you. But yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that. You know, to take a lot of caution. If you're new into stocks, don't be stupid, basically. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.